Okay, is everything here ready? Let me take a look. Let's see, that's off, that's off, that's off, that's on. The stream does appear to be live. I think everything is good to go. I got that, I got that. Okay, let's do it. Hello, Shadowcat back! Yes, it is the absolute worst day to be doing this, but we're doing it anyway because we never take a day off, right? So, we're back, we're here for the Tabletop stream. It is Easter, so happy Easter to everybody. If you're Christian, then he is risen, and if you're not Christian, then happy Bunny Day. And if you're not satisfied with either Jesus or bunnies, it's not all about you, okay? It's about Jesus and bunnies. Okay, just you got to let people have their thing. Now, I don't know if we're going to have any Jesus or bunnies today, but we're going to get back into the tabletop stream anyway because we have a lot of creatures to get through. I mean, actually, we did demigods. Is Jesus a demigod? I mean, if Hercules is a demigod, literally born of divine parents, mortal with supernatural powers, yeah, Jesus is a demigod. So yeah, I take it back. We actually do have Jesus today. So yeah, we're completely in the spirit of things. I think we already did demigods though, didn't we? We should take a look at that. Actually, I don't think we did. We did, but we didn't. Kinda, sorta. I don't know. Let's just get into it. But before we do that, let's take a look at the chat, see who's here. I see that Blizzard Star is in the chat. Hello, Blizz. Good to see you here. And that's all I got so far, so enjoy the spacious comment section all to yourself. It's all yours. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Of course, we're going to need to have our browser. And we'll need to have our spreadsheet. So keep making notes. And this is not it. This is my wish list. Why is this here? But you know what? For anybody who's interested, I have a wish list. I have nowhere for you to send it to, but I have a wish list. Okay, we don't need this. This is useless. Go away. I'm deleting this. Delete. Yes, go ahead and delete it. Okay, there we go. That's what we wanted. Okay, so this is where we left off last time. We were going through races. We had recategorized everything because there are like actual categories and different things are going to get different bonuses. So for example, on the wiki, we had a separate section for like all animals, which is great because we can use that because all animals are getting the same treatment. They all get a 2 intelligence because anything with 3 or higher is semi-intelligent. They'll get dexterity, they'll get wisdom, so we were able to save a bunch of time just doing that to all of them. We transferred everything over, whether it was a race, a class, whatever it was, and then we got back to work. The last thing, of course, that we did was the merfolk, because we had to differentiate between merfolk that have legs and merfolk who don't have legs. And the way it's working for the merfolk so far is that we're playing by the same, or not the merfolk, but the standard humanoid races, is we're playing by the same rules that Pathfinder plays by. And by extension, it's the same rules that Dungeons & Dragons plays by, as well as all the other stuff. You know, Neverwinter, Starfinder, all of it. Which is, every race is going to get a +2 bonus to something. And it will always be a +2 bonus. If you want to give them a bonus in 2 things, they have to take a penalty in 1. And so, either way, it will always cancel out and it will always equal a +2 bonus. Everyone is going to be good at something. So, with that being said, we're going to pick up where we left off, and that's going to be the Metathran, whatever that is. So let's see if we can pull that up. I'm going to come to the race sheet. We're going to scroll up to the humanoid races and take a look. So what is a Metathran? Oh, go away. I don't know when the wiki site... Yes, I'm using an ad blocker because you have so many ads. Today is just absolutely insane. Okay. I think we're good now. Alright, so, what is a Metathran? It is a creature type used for cards that depict a blue-aligned race created in Urza's Bloodline project. As part of Urza's plans to repel the inevitable Phyrexian invasion, they were solely meant as soldiers. Okay. Solely meant as soldiers. If that's the case, well, what is important for soldiers? We've actually kind of already answered that, because when we came up here and we looked at the actual soldier, actually it was down here. We looked at soldiers and we said that soldiers primarily prioritize the hard stats. That's strength, dexterity, and constitution. Since strength and constitution are already set by your by the card that you're using, we can't use those. And that meant that we had to pick something else. For the soldier, we picked intelligence and dexterity, because soldiers do need to be dexterous. After all, they're combat units. They need to be smart. They need to be able to do things. They do not necessarily need to be wise, as anyone who's ever been in the military can attest to, and they don't necessarily have to be personable. So, if these Metathran are supposed to be soldiers, that's what I'm leaning towards. Genetically engineered to be decisive, unerring, and obedient. And that is exactly what we're looking at here. Decisive, unerring, and obedient is not wisdom. That is pure intelligence. With superhuman combat skills and tactical awareness. That's dexterity. So we can literally come down here to the soldier, copy this, and then paste it up here. Which means, if the Metathran do have a soldier, they will essentially get to double all of these bonuses. And so, that should be great. Okay, next up, Minotaurs. Now, we all know what the Minotaur is. The Minotaur is the humanoid behemoth with the head of a bull, the strength of an ox, and he guards the labyrinth. And I think we might even have a race for that. Let me take a look. Because I think it's going to be somewhere in the unknowns. There's merfolk. Nope, I guess not. I mean, that's probably fair because Minotaurs are going to be incredibly strong. But here's what we can do. If it's not going to be a race, it's absolutely a monster. So, we'll come over here to the bestiary and we'll look at Minotaurs. They're going to be under M. Let's see, M, M-E, M-I, Minotaur, right here. Alright, Minotaur. The glazed bovine eyes of the bull-headed humanoid betray a feral cunning. With a torso muscular human, this beast is covered in thick shaggy fur from the waist down. You know, for censorship purposes. Its gnarled and callous hands grip the haft of a massive axe, the edge stained from the blood of its previous victims. With a furious snort and a stamp of its hooves, it lowers its deadly horns. It's a Minotaur. Believe it or not, it's only a CR4. So, I guess not that hard to take care of. But I want to look at its stats. What are its stats? So, it's got a strength of 19, so very strong. Constitution of 15, very tough. But again, these are set by the card. So what about its other stats? It has really good dexterity. Actually, no, it doesn't have really good dexterity. It has average dexterity of 10. It has an average wisdom of 10. It has low charisma and even lower intelligence. So, in keeping with this kind of thing, I'm not going to penalize anything. I'm not giving anybody a negative, just a negative modifier in general. Every one of your creatures should have something going for it when you summon it. Just like if you were actually making your own creature, it should have that. So, here's what I think we're going to do. It's already got the strength and constitution set, and I wonder, like, how big is a Minotaur? Can I find out? Let's go to an advanced search. And subtypes. Minotaur. Here we go. Are they big creatures? Are they little creatures? Let's take a look. That's a Minotaur pilot. Here we go. The On-Crop Crasher. It's a Minotaur warrior. He is a 3/2. That's not that big. This Invader is a zombie Minotaur warrior. That's a 2/2. Here's an Akum warrior, who's a Minotaur, 4/5. Nothing quite on the scale of what we're seeing in Pathfinder, but it's respectable. Okay, so I think what we're going to do is, I feel less bad about this now. We're going to give it a bonus. It's going to be a +2 dexterity. Okay. And I'm going to give it a +2 wisdom. So there's a positive to its hard ability scores, a positive to the soft ones. We're going to penalize another soft, though, with a -2 to intelligence. Okay, they aren't smart. However, they're going to be pretty strong, pretty dexterous, pretty tough, and I mean, they're going to operate mostly on instinct, which is going to help them out a lot in a battle, I think. Because again, that +2 wisdom, that's a bonus to its will save too. So if you're trying to control it or something, yeah, that's not going to work. All right, so there we go. That's Minotaurs. Now, what about the Moonfolk? Gotta find this again. Here we go. It even says here, Minotaur, part bull or goat or sheep. So they give you options. So let's take a look at Moonfolk then. And Moonfolk are a primarily blue creature type which originates in the Kamigawa block. So, the Moonfolk, or Soratami, are an enigmatic race of humanoid beings who are capable of flight and dwell in Kamigawa's clouds. Physically, they are slim, possess blue-gray skin, have long ears which they wrap over their heads. Wait a minute. Hold on. Moonfolk. They're part rabbit. We did it! We've got bunnies for Easter. It is completely coincidental, but we have bunnies for Easter. I love how sometimes things just work out. They claim to be descended from the moon Myojin. They live within floating palaces, of which their greatest structure on the clouds is the Palace of Oboro. Excuse me. They watch over the world below, mostly indifferent to the concerns of surface folk. These are cool. Okay, so here's the thing. It says they're capable of flight. But I need to look at something. Do they have reach? Do they all have flying? What is the thing here? So, I'm going to look for Moonfolk. Right? We can get rid of Minotaur. And we'll just search for Moonfolk. Yeah, that worked. Perfect. So, here we got a fancy card. But yeah, Moonfolk Monk, which has flying. The Floodbringer, which is a Moonfolk Wizard, which has flying. Looks like they already have flying. But we don't even need to give it anything special because we already have rules for that. So if we come back over here to this creature tab and we look at our creature's sizes, we already have something for the fly speed and their fly maneuverability. So if they have flying, which if we come back here to the spells area, which gives us all of our definitions, flying is right here, and it says see creatures. We come back over here, we've got our fly depending on size. So if we were to take a look at, say, I don't know, this Floodbringer, it's a Moonfolk Wizard, which is a 1/2. Total them together, that's a 3. We come back here to look at this, and 3 puts them in the small category, which gives them a perfect maneuverability. And since their speed is their converted mana cost times 10, that means that it costs 2, which means that they would have a perfect fly speed of 20 feet. Which, honestly, I think is fine. Maybe it's a little bit slow, but I think it's fine because they'll have a land speed of like 30 feet. But if I come down here and look at some of the others, like, are there any expensive ones? There's this Genku, the Future Shaper. But I don't think you have flying. Here we go. Katsumasa, the Animator. Legendary creature, a Moonfolk Artificer, which is a 3/3, costs 4 to play, and it does have flying. Since it's a 3/3, that'll put it into the medium category, which gives it good maneuverability. Because it costs 4 to play, it'll have a fly speed of 40 feet. So, it can actually fly a little bit faster than it can walk, which is great. I think that works out well. Now, this one, this Living Breakthrough, this is an enchant creature, so never mind. We'll have to rules that one out because you're enchanting a creature with flying. The Living Breakthrough doesn't actually have any cost to it. So we would probably just have to use the converted mana cost of the creature is on, which makes sense. You're applying flying to that creature. So yeah, this is going to work out. It also means that we do not have to do anything special for the Moonfolk in terms of their flight. What it does mean is that we're going to give them a bonus for dexterity. And that's because they're very elven-like. So they're going to get a bonus on their dexterity. It says physically they're slim, possess blue-gray skin, have long ears which they wrap over their heads. They don't strike me as being particularly beautiful like elves are described, so I'm not sure if I can give them an inherent charisma bonus. Besides that, they're also very aloof and don't seem to care. So, bonus to charisma? Probably not. Bonus to intelligence? They do live in floating palaces, which is great, but then again, I don't know. It does say here they have a high emphasis on the study of magic and have some of the most learned mages on the plane. That right there is a bonus in intelligence. Okay, so we do that. So bonus to dexterity because they fly, intelligence because they're wizards, maybe penalty to charisma because of their aloofness. So, do I have that already? Actually, I do. It's right here. So there. +2 Dex, +2 Intelligence, -2 Charisma. And we can call that one good. What's next? We're doing a Noggle. Okay, Noggle's creature type from the Shadowmoor plane. They're aligned to both red and blue mana. A Noggle is a small humanoid creature about the size of a dwarf or a kithkin, with a hunched gait and oversized head like a donkey. Noggles have large floppy ears, hooved feet, and a coat of short, coarse hair. They believe themselves to be the oldest race native to Shadowmoor, and that the other tribes stole the plane from them. This has made many Noggles bitter and give them a kleptomaniac streak, as they believe that everything in the world belongs to them, and that they have the right to steal anything they find by any means. As people, they have no crafts and no industries, stealing everything they can from others. They also have a cruel sense of humor and enjoy playing harmful tricks on others. Okay, so taking a look at these guys. They have no crafting, nor any kind of profession. That means they're not getting a bonus to intelligence. They steal everything from everybody. Means they're probably not that smart either. And they're definitely not that charismatic. Since I can't give them a bonus to any one of their soft stats, the only bonus they're getting is dexterity. And there we go. Quick and easy. Next is an ogre. I mean, we all know what an ogre is. I mean, yes, technically Shrek is an ogre, but we're not doing Shrek today. So it's a creature type with massive brutish humanoids with low intelligence, with some exceptions, and great bloodlust. They appear in many different planes, in many different forms, primarily associated with red and black. They're ogres. We know what ogres are. But let's think about this. Ogres, again, are they smart? They are definitely not smart. I mean, it says with some exceptions, but exceptions only prove the rule. Are they wise? Kinda, sorta. They're definitely not charismatic. I mean, they're wise in that they are technically an intelligent humanoid. So they have to have they gotta have some way to get by. Like, if I come over here to, not races, here. And we look at ogres. So we're going back to O. And right here, ogre. Now, there are a bunch of ogres, as you can see over here in the sidebar. But we're not looking at those. I just want your typical ogre. And the typical ogre has the following statistics. It has 21 strength and 15 con. Obviously, its highest stats. They're good at beating things and not getting beaten. After that, though, they only have an 8 dexterity, they have a 6 intelligence, a 7 charisma, and a 10 in wisdom. They literally have nothing else going for them. So I'm going to do something a little bit different. In general, whenever we've given a +2 to only one thing, it's been dexterity. But since I can't really give it to these guys, I'm going to give them a +2, but it's going to be to the only other stat that is not in the single digits. Wisdom. So they'll get along a little bit better. It'll give them a better will save, just in case you try to pull anything on them. And yeah, that should be fine. Okay, what was next after ogre? After ogre is orcs. We know what orcs are. We've seen orcs before. We've seen orcs in fantasy. We've seen orcs in space. We've seen orcs everywhere. Okay, they're primarily red or black, and they're orcs. We know what orcs are. And for orcs, we actually do have a race for that. We have half orcs here, but if I scroll down, we can actually do a full orc. And so what do we have for full orcs? Now remember, they generally have a +2, although this one's been penalized a lot more. The ability score modifiers for a full orc are +4 strength, -2 intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Which I think is a little unfair. They should at least have a bonus to one of those. So maybe we don't use that. Let's take a look at the half-orc instead. Half-orc. So the adjustments for a half-orc are simply a +2 to any ability score. Your choice. That's a little bit less than helpful. So we're not going to do that. We're going to follow our own rules here. For the orc, it was a +4 to strength, but we can't do that. So the only thing that we can give it a bonus for in terms of the hard stats would be dexterity. And then do we give it a bonus for anything else? Probably not. If we go with what it says here, and they get a penalty for all of their soft scores, intelligence, wisdom, charisma. If I negate all of those and just say give it a +2 bonus, but not a bonus in any of the soft scores, that only leaves one thing left, and that's a bonus to dexterity. And I'm good with that. So we'll do that. Okay. Next up is going to be the, whatever this is, the oof? Ouf? Oofefe? I have no idea. Alright, creature type used for cards that depict annoying little humanoids who often collect treasures or tinker with artifacts. I mean, there's a face that only a mother could smother with a pillow. Let's see. They're often associated with green, the natural world, and are related to fairies and possibly gremlins. All oofs tend to be small in stature, about the size of a dwarf or kithkin, with pointed ears, but otherwise vary wildly in appearance, including human-like brownies or, picknights, or the animalistic brown oofs. The first creature to bear the type was the brown oof in Ice Age. They are typically asocial. Many are hostile towards artifice. They have a reputation for being extremely annoying. So they're not getting any bonuses here for charisma. However, it says they often collect treasures and tinker with artifacts. That would lead me to believe they get some kind of intelligence. Because they are hostile towards pretty much everybody, I feel like I should not give them a bonus to their will. I don't know if I should penalize it either. I could give them a bonus to intelligence and penalize their charisma, though, since they are generally asocial. Although it just says asocial, not antisocial. Okay, there's a difference. Asocial just doesn't care about being social, okay? They don't expressly not want to deal with anybody, they would just rather not to. I mean, for that matter, I'm a relatively asocial person. I can be personable. I can have a conversation with just about anybody. It's one of my benefits. I can work with just about anybody. Do I want to? I usually prefer to work alone, but it doesn't mean that I can't. So, I'm going to treat them that way, and I'm not going to penalize their charisma. I don't think that I'm going to penalize their will or their wisdom. So the only thing I could think to give them is just a bonus to their dexterity and call it a day. And that should be fine. Okay. So you guys are done. You guys are okay. Next is a satyr. And we know what satyrs are. And if you don't know what a satyr is, yes you do. Because they're the ones that have always been pictured with like little cherubim bows and things like that. They're creatures of the spring, they're creatures of love and fertility, and, you know, everyone loves them. If you've ever seen the Disney movie Hercules, the little guy that trained Hercules, he's one of these. I don't know the guy's name. I've never actually seen the movie, but I know of it. That describes an awful lot of movies that I know. Anyway, though, they are primarily green and red, used to depict carefree woodland beings represented as part human, part goat, which are noted as lovers of pipe playing. Specifically pan flutes is what they're pictured with. Wine and lovers. They are ready for every physical pleasure. Unless you're training Hercules. In which case you're busy. So, because of this is actually going to be really, really super simple, I think. They are part of the woodland beings, which means that they're used to running through the woods. Automatic benefit to dexterity. They are ready for every kind of physical pleasure. They make great lovers. They make great entertainers. That is a benefit to charisma. So what are we penalizing? Honestly, probably intelligence. There are very few depictions of satyrs which are intelligent. They do operate primarily on instinct over insight. So we can leave their wisdom alone. But we'll go with dexterity intelligence, or no, dexterity charisma, and a penalty to intelligence, which is the same thing that we gave to the merfolk. I mean, we only have 4 stats to play with. There's only so many ways that we can put them together. We're going to have a lot of repeats. Okay, next up is going to be the Siren then. See, told you we're going to make up for lost time. Sirens. They are primarily a blue creature type used for cards that depict humanoid sea creatures, typically female and winged, who lure mariners to destruction with their seductive singing. Okay, the Alpha set already featured the Instant Siren's Call and the Sea Singer from Fallen Empires, which were an early take on the Siren trope. Honestly, if that's what we're going for, that thing is huge. Good thing we're setting everything by the card stats and not the pictures. Let's see. The subtype was introduced in Magic 2010 with the Nymph-like Alluring Siren, which has the flavorful ability to induce an attack by a target creature. The Greek-inspired Theros block. Oh, cool. I didn't know they had a Greek-inspired Theros block. Predictably included several new sirens, though not all of them use the siren song trope. Okay, Winged. Do they have flying? I gotta know. So get rid of that. We're gonna go ahead and search for sirens. There's the Alluring Siren. Tap, target creature and opponent controls attacks you this turn if able. Chorus of the Tides is a siren, and it has flying. It's got wings in the picture. It's got flying. Cloaked Siren. This one has flash. Here's one, though. This one also has flying. Here's another one that also has flying. A lot of them have flying. So here's what I think we're gonna do. Since a lot of them do have flying, we're gonna give it a bonus to dexterity. And because they're alluring, we're gonna give them a bonus to charisma. The problem with that is, if we give them a bonus to charisma, we have to penalize something, and then it's got to be either intelligence or wisdom. Or, yeah, intelligence or wisdom. Neither one of which seems to fit. Sirens are never really portrayed as dumb. Although, I've never heard of a genius siren either. We have to remember that just because we say a -2 to something doesn't necessarily mean that is stupid. That means that if you are rolling the dice, it's capped at 16. 16 is still really smart. So I think we could do that. They will be wise. They can be as wise as the oldest of any living thing. So yeah, I think we're going to copy what the satyr did. And they are both creatures from mythology. Both pretty much creatures from Greek mythology as well. So it kind of makes sense. Okay, next is the Slith. Now this is a new one for me. What is this? The Slith is a creature type unique to the plane of Mirrodin. They're depicted as humanoids with large skull-like heads formed from rock and or metal. Interesting. There were 5 Slith in Mirrodin. Each of these uncommon 1/1 creatures had a mana cost containing 2 colored mana of the same type and the ability whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, put a 1/1 counter on it. Okay, so literally it's only on a few cards. So we got the Ascendant, the Strider, the Bloodletter, the Firewalker, the Predator. Later on in Darksteel, they added the Arcbound. And in Modern Horizons 3, they added the Hexgold and the Etched. So here's the deal with these guys. They are just a humanoid. And technically speaking, the Ascendant has flying, the Strider gives you more cards, the Bloodletter has regeneration, the Firewalker gets haste, the Slith Predator gets trample. So that's the first 5 of them. There is nothing that I can give them that is going to accurately reflect what each one of them does. So we're going to cheat here. We're going to come up here to the humans, and we're going to take their ability, which is +2 to any, with the exception of Strength and Constitution. You have a Slith, you make a sheet for it, you can add a +2 to any one stat you want. In this way, you'll be able to kind of make it your own. And it'll fit whatever creature you're picking better. Like if you're making a Predator, perhaps you're going to want to have more dexterity. If you're picking the Strider, perhaps more intelligence. I'm not sure. We haven't figured out rules for card draw yet because, well, we're not actually drawing cards. So we'll figure this out. Okay, next is going to be Soltari. So let's take a look. Is it going to be something sun-based? It may be something sun-based. Or it could be the opposite of that, actually. In the chat, though, JP is in. Hello, JP. Good to see you. JP says, been a busy morning. Happy Easter. Happy Easter to you, too. It's good to have you in this morning. Let's see. Soltari. They are a white creature type used for cards that depict a spirit-like race being trapped in the shadows of wrath. All of them have the keyword ability Shadow. And if we come back here to our definitions, we had Shadow in here somewhere. There it is. Okay, and so Shadow. These creatures have a 50% chance to deal or receive damage or to be affected by spells. Essentially, they're intangible, they're ethereal, they're incorporeal. Which makes sense. It says that they're spirit-like beings. They appeared in the Tempest block, didn't have a subtype in Soltari, or did not have the subtype Soltari. It was later realized that a non-human race should have its own subtype, which resulted in the Soltari Priest in its time spiral, time-shifted form. The other cards were updated in the Grand Creature type update, which is good. So what do we do for them? I don't know, because this is just like an entire race of people. They originally lived in Dominaria, likely with a different outward appearance during the time of their plane shift. The Soltari were at war with the Dothi. The Thalicos were caught in the conflict despite their neutrality. All three races were trapped in the maelstrom of energy that surrounded Wrath and were stuck within the shadows, the extra planar space between Wrath and Dominaria. They were left there in an incorporeal state, unable to communicate with people on either plane, yet able to see both of them. We've seen this before because we already did the Dothi. We haven't got to the Thalicos yet. Let's see. They maintained a stable mental condition through following their religion, which offered them peace and solidarity. That's a wisdom bonus right there. Okay, they're nailing their will saves. But it doesn't seem like they have a whole lot else going for them. So here's the thing we're going to do. They're only going to get a +2 bonus, but that bonus is not going to be dexterity, it's going to be wisdom. They are going to get just a straight up bonus to their wisdom. And so that should be good. So, next is the Surakar. The Surakar are black and blue creature type, used for cards that depict a humanoid reptilian race that borders on intelligence. As a creature type, they are unique to Zendikar, and all 4 Surakar were printed in the original Zendikar block. Really? Yeah, there's only 4 of them. There's only 4, but they don't even bother to list them. Okay, so the Grayskin Surakar have a shambling gait. They have a height of an average elf, but they are much heavier, with a dewlap hanging down from their chins, and long tails that drag on the ground. In the entirety of the multiverse, Surakar are only known to thrive on Bala Ged, the subcontinent of the plane of Zendikar. Deep within the Goom Wilds, the Surakar marauders make their nests among boggy limestone hillocks. Extremely ferocious, so they're not getting any bonuses to charisma. They are thought by many inhabitants of the plane to be nothing more than savage monsters, although some suspect that they have some intelligence and societal structure. They are known to collect treasures and use weapons. It's unknown if they have survived the Eldrazi devastation of Bala Ged. Probably not. It's the Eldrazi. Okay, so in that case, here's what I think we're gonna do. They are ferocious, so I think we're going to treat them like berserkers. They're not going to be smart. We already did berserkers, didn't we? Yeah, we did. We gave berserkers a +2 dexterity. But we're going to do more than that. We're going to do more than that for these guys. So for the Surakar, I think that what we're going to do, we're going to give them a +2 dexterity. I'm going to give them a +2 wisdom. It did say that some people believe that they do have some kind of society. They have to have at least some kind of wisdom to do that, I think. Although animals get a +2 wisdom as well. Wisdom is more instinct. But it's not just instinct, it's also experience. I'm going to stick with it. And then we're going to give them a -2 to their intelligence. Because their intelligence, even in canon, is questionable. So, we'll let that ride. Which will take us to the next one. We've already mentioned them. It's the Thalicos. So let's find out what these guys are. And what they are is already horrifying. Okay. So, blue creature type used for cards that depict an insane spirit like... Insane. Okay, not getting any bonuses to will saves here. And PC Unicorn is in the chat. Hello, PC Unicorn. Good to see you. PC Unicorn says, I'm Pancake. Good to know. Do you want syrup with that? I don't know what to say to that. You're Pancake. Good for you. Okay. Insane spirit-like race of beings trapped in the shadows of wrath. All of them have the keyword shadow. The cards as they appeared in the Tempest block didn't have a subtype, but it was later added. We've seen that. They originally lived in Dominaria, maybe with the another outward appearance. We've heard this one before. During the time of their plane shift, they were trapped. They were left in a corporal state, unable to communicate. And this led to them losing their sanity. Again, that sounds basically like the same thing for the Dothy. Because we got the Dothy, these horrible things. And again, when we look at these guys, unable to communicate. This predicament led to the Dothy to lose their sanity. It's possible that they were already close to madness, and this condition provided the last push. I'm failing to see a difference here, honestly. Like, I'm sure that there is a difference, but I'm not seeing it. So here's what I think I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna come up here to the Dothy. And we're gonna copy this. And I mean, I didn't even penalize the Dothy's wisdom. I probably should have. But I didn't. But there we go. +2 dexterity. Alright, next up. Trolls. Alright, trolls we know. We've seen trolls in fantasy forever. So it's mainly a green creature type, represented in magic lore as large, bestial, ill-tempered humanoids. Many of them have regeneration, and that's kind of important. I'm going to take us back to Pathfinder for a minute, because trolls are kind of a big deal in Dungeons & Dragons and Pathfinder. Specifically, that regeneration. Because every troll has regeneration of 5. Which can only be negated through the use of either acid or fire. In Dungeons & Dragons, it used to be that you couldn't even kill them without acid or fire, and I wonder if that's still the thing. Single-minded berserkers in combat. Because of their regeneration, they are fearless. They always fight to the death. It does not mention that they are deathless, though. So Pathfinder did nerf that a little bit. It used to be, though, that if you killed a troll, and I'll go ahead and just air quotes, killed a troll, if you did not kill it with either acid or fire, it would get back up. In Pathfinder, they've just given them straight up regeneration, and if you do manage to kill it, it's dead. So that's good, at least, for you as a player. It's good for you. For a troll, though, they have great dexterity, really sad other stats. So that's what I'm going to give them. They have a bonus to dexterity. That's all we need. Next is the Vedalken. So the Vedalken, I know these guys a little bit. I have a couple of the cards. They are a blue creature type used for cards that depict a tall, thin, hairless, blue-skinned humanoid race with exceptional mental acumen. That's a bonus to intelligence. And generally dispassionate view towards life. That is not a bonus on charisma. However, in some planes they have more positive qualities. Their infatuation with knowledge makes them hyper-intellectual people, natural artificers, and mages. So here's the thing. If they're going to be mages and artificers, they're probably not athletes. Which means they're probably not getting a bonus to their dexterity. If they're dispassionate towards life, they're not getting a bonus in charisma, which is fine. They're probably also not very ethical, which leads me to believe that they're not going to have a great wisdom. I think that we can give them just a straight up +2 bonus to intelligence. And call it a day. So that's how they should all work. Should be super simple. What about werewolves? So, the thing about werewolves is that it's kind of hard to gauge these. Because a werewolf in Pathfinder is not... It's not a thing. Not as such. So, in Pathfinder, you do have werewolves, and you do have lycanthropes. And I wonder what it would be under. Would it be under elf or lycanthrope? I bet it would. K-L-L-Y. Here we go, lycanthropes. Werewolf. Okay. So the muscular creature has a man's body, but the snarling head and fur coat of a wolf. Okay? They're not terribly hard, but as you can see here, we have werewolf human form, and then werewolf hybrid form, and I don't think they have a natural form. So it's just the hybrid form. So what stats do you give it? I mean, I guess if you're going to have a werewolf creature, 17, 13, 14, 19, 15, 17. So yeah, its hard stats go up. 8, 14, and 8. 8, 14, and 8, its soft stats don't change. Now, seeing as how its hard stats are more or less just influenced by the card, with the exception of dexterity, I'm thinking that we'll go ahead and we'll give it a dexterity bonus, and we'll leave everything else alone. Whatever it rolls, that's what it rolls. And so that should be fine. And since the werewolf cards, you'll be able to flip them over depending on whether it's day or night. And since the werewolf has, I believe, generally higher card stats anyway, it'll just kind of sort itself out. Alright, which is going to take us to the last in the humanoid races, the Yeti. No, it's not Bigfoot. It's Bigfoot's cousin. So they're predominantly red and green creature type used for ape-like humanoids living in cold mountainous regions. And I do believe we even have a bestiary entry for it. It'll come down to Y. And there it is. Figured we would. This creature stands like a man, yet is half again the height of most men and covered in a coat of thick white fur. So it's large. Its stats, though. It has an impressive strength for being large. It has an impressive constitution. It has pretty good dexterity and wisdom, but low intelligence, and we can use that. So, plus dex. And plus wisdom. And -2 intelligence. And there we go. And just like that, we have all of our standard humanoids done. Except for the alien. We didn't do the alien, because I have no idea what to do for the alien. I mean, that's going to be hard. Actually, no. Do I even need the alien? I think aliens are just kind of gone. I think these are only in the Unfinity sets. Yeah, these are not applicable. So, no aliens. And since I filled in the alien, now it's done. All the humanoid races. Which is great. Now we got to do the rest of them, though. So now we get into humanoid races without their own subtype. Whatever that means. So, humanoid races without their own subtype. Right here. So we've got the Anok, the dog folk, we've got salamander folk, bird folk, bear folk, cactus folk. There's a lot of animal hybrids, I believe. Luxodon's in here. Leonin and Luxodon, those are their own types, right? Hold on. Are they not? It should be creature and then, like, Leonin. Leonin. Because I have some of these. No? Okay, well, hold on a second. Let's try that again. No? Does it come up here? No, because it's got to be a creature. Okay, well, let's try this then. See what happens here. Let's do a general search for Leonin. Weird how it only comes up with the one option. Did I spell it wrong? Is that what I did? Lee. Oh, I put an E on it. That was my problem. Okay, so yeah, here's the ingenious Leonin. Every Leonin is a cat soldier. Oh, okay, that's going to be a bit of an issue then. So that's what they mean by creatures without a subtype. None of these are going to be listed on the card. If I was to look up, say, a Luxodon. Did I spell Luxodon wrong? I might have spelled Luxodon wrong. Loxodo. Okay, yeah. It's not Luxodon, it's Loxodon. Here we go. Loxodon Anchorite. They are an elephant cleric. Okay, here's a problem. And we got to figure out a solution for this one. So, when it says creature without a subtype, that means that all these are going to be animal hybrids. The problem is that if we say that this Loxodon Anchorite is an elephant cleric, okay, let's look at our Loxodon here. That means it's going to be an elephant cleric, which means we have to come here to elephant. And this is the first problem that we have. Elephant, right here. Set intelligence to 2. Because it's dumb. Then a +2 dexterity and +2 wisdom. Okay. And then a cleric is another +2 wisdom and another +2 charisma, but I think I need to go back and redo that one. Okay. Oh boy. This is going to be hard. Or is it? So, generally speaking, I have been looking at the card types. Because every single one of these is literally listed after creature. All of these humanoid races that we're looking at, you know, air quotes, humanoid races without their own subtype, these are all going to be part of the creature's name. So, for example, Aven. The Aven Fate Shaper, which I still have pulled up over here. Okay? Because I actually have this card, and I like it. The Aven Fate Shaper here, it's a blue creature. It is a bird wizard. So let's take a look at this. Bird wizard. We'll use our own system here. Bird. Set intelligence to 2. Give it a +2 dexterity, +2 wisdom. Okay, well my bird wizard just became so stupid it can't talk. And wizard, we haven't done yet. So I don't have anything. Wizards will obviously get a bonus to intelligence, but currently my bird wizard can't talk. So here's what I think I might need to do. Here's what I think I might need to do, and this might be really easy actually. All I think I need to do for these is to offset the intelligence penalty. Because they're all going to get a bonus to their dexterity and their wisdom just by the fact that they are animal people. The problem is their intelligence, which is being heavily, heavily penalized. So if I wanted to, say, take my Aven Fate Shaper here and make it normal, all I would really need to do is this. Ooh, but that's gonna be tough. +8. +8. No, I can't do that. Not +8. +6. +6 intelligence. What have we just done here? Because I have given them a +6 intelligence, we're going to set their intelligence to 2. Okay? By virtue of it being a bird. Then, we're going to give it a +6 intelligence, which would bring its intelligence up to 8. And it's already going to get the +2 dexterity and +2 wisdom. So that is going to put it on par with any of these other humanoid races. If we were going to rewrite it, it would literally just be this one right here, the Dryad. +2 dex, +2 wisdom, -2 intelligence. And then we can add on whatever class we want. Because if we look at the Kitsune, let's find a Kitsune. Kitsune. Yeah, here we go. The Mystic, or Kitsune Mystic, the Autumn Tail. It is a fox wizard. Because it is a fox wizard, we come over here to fox, and of course foxes are animals, set intelligence to 2. So we just have to bring up that intelligence. And then, because it is a wizard, it's going to get more. So I honestly think all we have to do is simply take this +6 intelligence and paste it in there, just like that. And in doing so, we have now elevated every single one of these from being an animal to an actual intelligent humanoid. Are they the most intelligent? No. But they can be. It's either that or we have to override it with the set intelligence. Which I can do. I could even just make a note of that. No, I think this will be fine. This will be fine. And let's see. JP says, LOL, don't talk about the elephant in the room. Also says, make them an uplifted subclass. Well, it's essentially what we're doing is making them an uplifted subclass. We are taking these things that would otherwise be a normal, say, elephant, but because it is a loxodon, it's going to have a much higher intelligence. A higher intelligence of, an 8 is not the worst thing in the world. Basics and ability scores. Let's kind of do ability scores, and let's take a look at what an 8 actually is. Intelligence, here we go. So we're going to look at an 8. 8 to 9. We're looking at troglodytes, centaurs, and gnolls. They have trouble following trains of thoughts, forgets most unimportant things. Okay, I'm sure that we all know people like this. And when it comes to centaurs and gnolls are explicitly tribal. They're not completely uncivilized. They're just not advanced. So, comparing them to humans, or elves or dwarves or anything else like that, they would seem dumb. However, it's a gnoll. It is a humanoid hyena. And compared to actual hyenas, they're much smarter. So we are uplifting them here. PC Record says, not all cats are leonine though, you may have to go with art. But here's the thing. It's not so much that, you're right, not all cats are leonine. First example off the top of my head would be the Scoria cat. Because I have a Scoria cat. And if you don't know what the Scoria cat is, let me pull it up. Here we go. Kitty! Scoria cat is a red cat, and it costs 5 to play. It's a 3/3 creature, and it gets 3/3 so long as you have no untapped lands. So use that mana. It's red though, so you want to use that mana anyway. But it's just a cat. Since it's not leonine, it doesn't say leonine anywhere on the card, it's not going to get the +6. And if I look at leonines, do we have any leonines who are not humanoids? Let's see. Jareth, Leonin Titan, Leonin Abunus, Leonin Arbiter. There's a lot of them. So we're just going to look at the card artwork real quick. And just say, no. I'm not seeing any leonines who are not a humanoid. Let's see. Blizzard Star says Volcano Kitty. Yes, love the Volcano Kitty. PC Unicorn says Sky Hunter Skirmisher. Okay. Oh, hold on a second. I catch what you're saying. I got what you're saying. Sky Hunter Skirmisher. Okay, here we go. Sky Hunter Skirmisher. It is a creature. It is a cat knight. It's got flying, double strike. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Okay. So, here's where GMs come in. The reason why tabletop gaming is what it is, and it's not just a computer game, the thing that makes it really powerful and popular is its flexibility. And this is one of those cases where Sky Hunter is not a thing. Okay? Sky Hunter and Skirmisher are not things. But we know by looking at it that it is a Leonin, because if I just look at Sky Hunter, there are 7 cards here with Sky Hunter. We've got the Armored Sky Hunter, we've got the Leonin Sky Hunter Cub, Sky Hunter Patrol, Sky Hunter Prowler, Sky Hunter Skirmisher, and Sky Hunter Strike Force. Every single one of these we can acknowledge is part of the Leonins. So what we're looking at here is we have humanoids here with their own subtype. We have humanoid races without their own subtype, but we're going to be able to treat Sky Hunter as kind of its own subtype tied in with Leonin. And as a matter of fact, I could technically even go ahead and add it in here, but I'm not going to, because we have the ability to simply make that judgment on our own, on the spot. When I sit down with my players to say, let's build your deck, this is going to be your collection of spells, we can already attribute Leonin to that. And Blizzard Star says, Jamuria Lion? I do not know what that is. Jamuria. Is that spelled right? No, I don't think that's spelled right. If I just type in lion, I get 67 results. However, they are alphabetized, so let's just look at J's. Oh, here we go. I bet you mean this one. The Jamuran lion. There's a kitty. That's a pretty kitty. So there we go. And yeah, that's a white lion that costs 3 to play. It's a 3/1? Yeah, it's a 3/1. Also, target creature cannot block this turn, which is just mean. Okay, also, Blizzard Star says maybe Leonin is humanistic. Yeah, and that's what we're going for here. That's why we're giving it the uplift in intelligence. I can't give it +8 intelligence and bring it up to a 10 because of the other bonuses that the animals are getting. They're taking a huge penalty on their intelligence to get the 2 bonuses. And the I can't bring the intelligence up too high. So even though, yes, the Aven Fate Shaper is absolutely going to be intelligent, because my Aven Fate Shaper is going to be a wizard, and the wizard will also get a bonus to its intelligence, that'll bring my Aven Fate Shaper up to a it'll bring my Aven Fate Shaper up to a 10 intelligence. Now, if you played these games before, you may be looking at a 10 in intelligence and saying, well, no, because, like, how can you have a wizard with only 10 intelligence? And the reason for that is because you actually can. So let me come over here to, not races, but classes, and take a look at a wizard. So, spells. A wizard casts arcane spells taken from the spell list. Yes, we know. To learn, prepare, or cast a spell, a wizard must have an intelligence score equal to at least 10 plus the spell level. Now, what does that mean? That means that if you want to be an archmage, and you want to be able to cast spells like Wish, or Gate, or any of these things, you need to have an intelligence score of a minimum of 19. That is to say, 10 plus the spell level. Gate is a level 9 spell, 19. So, what does that mean if you only have an intelligence of 10? Well, if you have an intelligence of 10, what can you cast? Well, you can't cast a magic missile because that's a level 1 spell. 10 plus 1 is an intelligence of 11, which means you are restricted to level 0 spells. What is a level 0 spell? It's called a cantrip. And there's a lot of them. If we just take a look at the list here, cantrips include Resistance, Acid Splash, Drench, Detect Fiendish Presence, Detect Magic, Detect Poison, Grasp, Read Magic, Daze, Breeze, Dancing Lights, and the list goes on. If you are a wizard with only 10 intelligence, you are restricted to cantrips. But does that make you not a wizard? No, it does not. You are still every bit a wizard, even if you are a bad wizard. You are still a wizard, which means that any of these animals, humans, if they're a wizard, they can still be a wizard. Not only is it good in lore, but it's good mechanically as well. So this is going to work. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and get into the rest of these. And here is where things are going to kind of go off the rail. Because now we're getting into humanoid races in appearance only. Essentially, what we are looking at here is these are races which might look human, but they are very much not human. They are very much not bound by your rules. And so they don't have to play by the same rules that we've been using. They don't have to have a penalty on them. So, we're going to go through a lot of these, and we're just going to go ahead and kind of start over. We're going to start over. Because if all of the humanoid races needed to have a +2 bonus, and that includes a penalty, what I think we can do is we can just start giving these guys bonuses, but we still need to have some kind of guideline to go by. We gotta have some kind of guideline. That guideline could be simply that -2 penalty. So if we wanted to give a +4 bonus in general to a humanoid, we had to give it a -2 penalty to bring that down. If we just nix that penalty, then we can start giving them a +4 to their stats instead. But is that enough? For example, down here is God. And up here is demigod. But down here is God. And, like, what are we supposed to do with that? So we're going to come down here and I'm going to click on God here. It says that although gods and deities have been a part of magic for a long time, the special god creature type had to be introduced for the Greek-inspired Theros block, as the Greek pantheon was the very center of their mythology. The gods were complemented by monsters and heroes. The word god used a gender neutrality, meaning it can signify male or female. And there are many blocks that had it in there. There are 67 cards that say God. And does God just get a +4 bonus? I mean, probably not. So let's see what we can do here. I want to go to subtypes, and I want to see what God cards look like. So here we go. The very first one, let's take a look. This is Oh, wow, it's a flip card. It's a flippy card! I hate flippy cards. They require sleeves. Anyway. Acklets... Let's see. Aklazots. Aklazots? Deepest Betrayal. It is a legendary creature. It is a bat god. And what do it do? It costs 5 to play. It's a 4/4 creature. It's got flying and lifelink. Whenever it attacks an opponent, whenever it attacks, each opponent discards a card. For each opponent who can't, you draw a card. Fun. It's good in the game. I don't know how it's going to help us in Pathfinder. Here's the thing about this that I'm struggling with. So, this is God, okay? This is a God in mortal form, all right? When we think of God, generally, because, I mean, most of us are going to be in the U.S., we think of the Christian God. There he is, on high, with a capital H, and God is all of the O's, okay? God has, like, the greatest O face of all. He is omnipotent, he is omnipresent, and he is omniscient. Okay? He has all of the O's. He knows all, is all, and can do all. Now, why is that a big deal? Because this bat god is not that. Okay? This bat god has only 14 strength. Okay, if we go back here to the ability scores and look at 14 strength, okay, where is it? Strength, here we go, 14. This bat god, okay, god with a big G on it, has a light load capacity of 58 pounds. Okay, I can weigh down this god with a bag of dog food. You could literally knock this thing over with a hay bale. So we may have to dial down our concept of God here, like, pretty extensively. I mean, it has a constitution of 14 as well. If I come down here to a constitution of 14, what does it say? It has the same constitution as a light horse, merfolk, or a troglodyte. It's able to labor for 12 hours on most days. That's not sounding very omnipotent to me. So, when we're looking at God, we have to first define what does God even mean. And since a lot of this was brought up during the Theros block, which focused primarily on the Greek gods, I think we have to use that as the example, because when you go back into history, particularly when it comes to like Greek mythology, the gods were there. Like, the Christian God is not there, okay? He's not. God resides in heaven, in the highest parts of heaven, surrounded by all of his angels. And if God deigns to interact with the world itself, God had to do so with proxies. I mean, obviously there was things like the burning bush. However, the one time that God wanted to come down to Earth itself, it had to do so through Jesus, according to the book. Because God could not otherwise set foot on Earth. When you go into like the Greek pantheon though, or many of the other ones, the Roman pantheon as well was a good example, because even then the gods just were represented by the planets in the sky. But they lived on Mount Olympus. Mount Olympus was supposedly a place that you could go to I mean, I don't know exactly where it would have resided back during the Grecian times, but it was there. And you could technically attempt to go up Mount Olympus, and the gods could come down from Mount Olympus. So, we're already looking at gods being a lesser version of what we would normally think already. And I think that we can use that to our advantage. I think that what we're going to do here is we are going to, in general, give a +4 to maybe a +6, maybe a +8, I'm not sure, bonus to the creatures in this listing. God will be, I think, a bit of an outlier. But some of these others, like skeletons, I mean, it's a skeleton. It's undead. And specifically, if we come back to the bestiary, undead are their own creature type for a reason. When we look at an undead, undead creatures have the following features. And by the way, undead is going to apply to skeletons, shades, I believe. It's going to apply to spirits, vampires, wraiths, zombies, you know, all of these. So what does an undead get? D8 hit dice, don't care. Medium progression on their base attack bonus. Skill bonus, yeah. Okay, here's the thing. They have no constitution score normally. We can't do that because we're using the cards, and so they will have a constitution score. Normally an undead would use their charisma score in place of it. But again, since they're not actually undead, they're echoes, we can sidestep that. They have dark vision, but again, it's an echo, not an actual thing. They are immune to all mind effects, because they generally do not have an intelligence score. It's a skeleton. And if I were to look at a skeleton, come to S, K, here we go, skeletons. A pile of bones suddenly stirs, rising up to take on human shape. Long bony figures reach out to claw at the living. It's a wonderful thing to look at. But yeah, here we go. Strength 15, Dexterity 14, Constitution and Intelligence none. It's an undead. So, those are going to be different. I also do not know if any of these can be paired with a, if any of them can be paired with a class, so we'll have to keep things maybe kinda, sorta balanced. Okay, so like here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take advantage of what we know already about the undead. We're gonna knock these out early. So, for example, we look at the skeleton. The skeleton has no constitution, no intelligence. It also has wisdom, charisma, nothing. It's just going to get a bonus to its dexterity. This is one of those cases where actually, again, we don't have rules to operate by. So here's what I'm going to do. A zombie, we'll just get the +2 dexterity. So will the skeleton. Okay, those will be easy. Vampires. Vampires, we cannot just give a +2 dexterity because there's much more to them than that. And so we'll have to leave those for later. Wraith, I don't think there's too much I need, or nothing that really makes a Wraith stand out. But we'll take a look. Yeah, we may not be doing these in orders. Here we go, Wraith, right up here. So, Wraith, a ghostly creature is little more than a dark shape with 2 flickering pinpoints of light where its eyes should be. It's incorporeal. and has no constitution, no strength. It is incorporeal. It does have an intelligence, though, and it can even create more wraiths if it kills you. So for a wraith, it's got good dexterity, it's got good intelligence, got good charisma. Well, okay, it needs good charisma because it doesn't have a constitution score. I don't necessarily know what I would do for them. They're not the same as a skeleton or a zombie, though. I don't know. We'll get to that later, I guess. But I'm going to go back up to the top of the list because I want to start up at the top. We're going to go back to the Aetherborn and redo them. Alright, so, Aetherborn. We're looking at them once more. They are a black-aligned creature type introduced in Kaladesh. Some of them draw life essence from other beings into themselves to prolong their existence. And they have the subtype of vampire. Oh, that's some Aetherborn can do that. So there would be Aetherborn vampires. Okay. But not all of them are going to be vampires. That's important. Families of Aetherborn lay territorial claim to areas where young Aetherborn have manifested and instruct them in the way of their kind, so they're pretty smart. Their bodies are in constant flux with the aether residue that they're made of, or as the aether residue they're made of gradually dissolves and is reclaimed into the aether sphere. Thus, their lives are short. They are born, fully formed, and know their remaining lifespan, which can be between 4 weeks and 4 years. But rather than despair, they savor each fleeting moment, squeezing out every last drop of enjoyment. Traditionally, before an Aetherborn dies, they throw a party with mandatory attendance for their friends and associates. Aetherborn that lack such social connections usually hijack the party for another of their kind. Okay, so they are smart, they are wise, they are charismatic, they have a society. And so, nothing about them says that they are terribly combative. They do not need to eat or sleep. They instead focus fully on on their existence. They have an innate sixth sense which allows them to accurately sense the emotional state of beings nearby perimeter. Okay, so here's what we can do, since we do not have to abide by the rules. And I love not abiding by the rules. It's going to be a +2 intelligence. A +2 wisdom. And a +2 charisma. That is a +6 bonus on these guys. But you know what? It's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. So next up is going to be angels, and I don't think I need to click on angels. We know what an angel is. Angels fly. That automatically is going to give them a +2. Here's the thing. It's going to give them a +2 to their dexterity. However, they're angels. They are smart. I mean, they know things. Or at least they're supposed to know things. Angels don't really have a bad stat. Ability scores. No, I don't want this. Where's my bestiary? Here we go. Angels. That's going to be hard because there are an awful lot of them. So, angel subtype. So, angels as a whole have dark vision and low light vision. They're immune to acid, cold, and petrification. They're resistant to electricity and fire. They have saves against poison. Any attack made against them by an evil creature. It gives them +4 deflection bonus to AC. And they have true speech, so they can talk to anybody. You can bind an angel, sure. Summon angels, sure. But, like, can you just show me an angel? What would be just your bog standard typical angel? Well, it's not going to be a Deva, I know that. It's not going to be a Solar, it's not going to be a Planetar. Maybe a Coral Angel? CR6. Good enough. So yeah, when we take a look at their stats, it is a +13, or 13, 16, 15, 16, 16, 17. I mean, they're not bad at anything. Their weakest score will be 13. That's set by the card anyway. So here's what I think we're going to do. We're going to build something new. It's going to be a +2 to all. With the exception, of course, accepting strength and constitution. So very similar to how up here with the humans, we gave them a +2 to any, except for strength and constitution. The angel is going to get a +2 to all. And I can actually shrink this a little bit. Okay. So there we go. That's what we needed there. Next is going to be the Archon. And Archons are similar. Like if I were to come over here and take a look at an Archon, Archons are a race of Celestials or good outsiders, native to the lawful good, aligned, and outer planes. So, Angels are just kind of like generally good, Archons are lawful good. But they are essentially, sort of, kinda, just like them. The only difference is that Angels are always humanoid, and Archons, as you can see over here, typically are some kind of animal. We have Archon hounds, we have Archon stags, things like that. If we look at the race in Magic the Gathering, it's a creature type described as mythical celestial beings that are heavily aligned with the principles of white. They have obscured faces. They always appear on a flying steed. On some planes, the rider and mount are a single being. Again, they're not bad at anything. So I'm going to go ahead and reuse this. That's going to bring us to avatars then. So with the avatar, where is it? Here it is. There are 117 cards with avatar in it. And not all of them are going to be the same. There's avatars on Alara, on Arcavios, Capenna, Dominaria. There's a lot of them. They're an aspect or projection of larger powers. Avatars are powerful beings. While most avatars are benevolent, many are considered to be evil. So, given that an avatar is just a projection of pure power, what do we do with it? My initial thought... Well, my initial thought is to just give it the same thing we gave the Angels, but that's not entirely true, because an avatar is literally just a projection. it should have the soft stats of whatever's behind it, technically. Although, that would imply that there are some kind of soft stats for the thing behind it. Which, if we look at some of these avatars, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna back up here. I'm gonna clear this out. Is Avatar not a creature type? Okay, I guess not. In that case, we'll just do this. We'll just do a general search for avatars. Okay, so Avatar of Discord. Discord is just chaos. And a Draconequus, but that's something else. There is no soft stats behind Discord. Avatar of Fury, same thing. We're talking about the personification of Fury. Avatar of Growth. The Avatar of Hope, Avatar of Me? No, that's from the Unfinity thing. Avatar of Might, of Slaughter. Here's the thing. None of these have any kind of soft stats. They're not smart, they're not wise, they are not... They're not anything. Essentially, these things are the chaos gods of Magic the Gathering. You have enough people that believe in slaughter that you get the Avatar of Slaughter. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm looking at these, and I notice a trend. Not so much with you, however, the Avatar of Fury, 6/6. Avatar of Growth, 4/4. Avatar of Hope is 4/9. Okay, we'll ignore you for a second. The Avatar of Me, we're ignoring. Avatar of Might, though, is an 8/8. The Avatar of Slaughter is an 8/8. A lot of them have just duplicate abilities. Here's what I'm going to do. These avatars, since they do not have the soft stats, this is going to be a plus wild card. It's going to be plus wild card, plus not do wild card, plus X dexterity. X equals strength. Okay, so if it's going to be like this this Avatar of Might up here, which is an 8/8, that means that it'll have 8 strength, and if its dexterity is going to match its strength, it'll be 18 strength, 18 dexterity, and 18 constitution. And then presumably 10 in everything else. And so that should be good. 10 in everything else means that it will not have any skills that it can use. It's not going to get a bonus to its will save, except for whatever it gets for, whatever level it is. And it's not going to have any kind of charisma score because it doesn't care. It literally just does not care. And I think that'll work. I think that works good. Okay, avatars. Done. Complicated, but done. Next is a bringer. Now, what were these guys again? These are from 5th Dawn. They're depicted as crystalline humanoids or beastly entities. There are 5 bringers. All of them can see as manifestation of the 5 suns. Right. I remember these guys now. They can be played for all 5 colors. Otherwise, they cost 7. And they're just creatures. Each one of them had their own unique ability, though. That was cool. If I look for Bringer, let's see. There's a lot more of those than I thought. Here we go. Bringer of the Black Dawn. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may pay 2 life. You do search your library for a card, then shuffle that card, put it on top. Bringer of the Blue Dawn. It has trample. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may draw 2 cards. Bringer of the Green Dawn. Again, trample. They all have trample. They're all really big creatures, and they all have trample. Green Dawn. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may create a 3/3 green beast creature token. So yeah, they all have kind of their own separate thing. They're not... There's nothing to make me believe that they're really smart or anything. They just kind of exist and do things. And I mean, this is the White Dawn, I think. Yeah. If we take a look at the blue one, I mean, I guess it does kind of look like it has a head. Can I zoom in a little bit more? No, it's about that's as much as we can do. And you can't even see that. There we go. Yeah, it's kind of got a head, sorta. I'm not sure what to do with them. These are essentially just like a creature of the moons. It's kind of like an avatar for the moons of Mirrodin. And so maybe I should treat it as such. All it is the avatar of Mirrodin, or the moons of Mirrodin on the planet of Mirrodin. And so there we go. And that's going to bring me to a demigod. And we're running out of time here, but we'll try to get through as many as we can. Demigod. Okay, let's think about demigods here for a second. So, we've already talked about what is a demigod. Hercules is a demigod, Jesus is a demigod. We got a pretty good idea what demigods are at this point. But what makes them different from angels? And the answer to that is, I don't know. So, especially if we were to compare not Jesus, because Jesus, as far as like a demigod goes, is kind of on the lower tier. He didn't really flex a whole lot. But let's go to Greek mythology and use Hercules, because he's a very famous one and we know a lot about him. What if we were to compare Hercules versus, say, Michael? Okay? The Archangel Michael. Both of them were soldiers, both of them were warriors, both of them are incredibly strong, incredibly resilient. Both of them have great feats to their name. Both of them are highly respected. When I look at Hercules versus, say, Michael, I have a hard time drawing a line. I think it is essentially just two different pantheons, two different descriptions, but by and large, the same abilities. And so here's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to give the demigod the same thing. Okay? They're just better. They're not great, but they are better. Alright, and so that'll work for them. Now, what about the Djinn? Okay? For the Djinn, these guys are genies, like the classic genie in the lamp. I don't feel I really need to pull them up, but I mean, we're here, so why not? So it is a creature type used for cards that depict certain spirits of air or fire, commonly forced into slavery by mortal beings to utilize their immense magical powers, usually in the form of a wish, as well as the infernal spirits with the fiery appearance known as Ifrits. So, what are we going to do with them? They are spirits, and we already have spirits, and the spirits that we did before, they're not that big a deal. With Djinns, though, they are usually very dexterous, they're usually very smart, they're usually very wise because they're very old, they're usually very charismatic, because they have to be when you're dealing with people. They have high diplomacy. Because they have to be good at necessarily all of these things, I think we had to give them the same thing we gave to angels and demigods. And since the Freets are the same thing, they're going to get the same thing as well. Now, that brings us down to gods. Now, the demigods are already getting a +2 to everything. And so, if we're going to do that, we'll come back here. If we're going to do that, then God would presumably have to be a step above. It is in here, isn't it? I thought it was. Should be. Yep, there it is. Alright, so let's take a look at some of these. We've got, of course, the Bat God. It's a 4/4. This Alrund, God of the Cosmos, is a 1/1. Why are you a 1/1? You're a god. Well, you do have a flippy, so there's that. So he gets a +1/+1 for each card in your hand. That's why. And each foretold card you own in exile. That's why he's a 1/1. He gets massive bonuses. If you've got a full hand, that makes him an 8/8. And at the beginning of your end step, you can choose a card type, then reveal the top 2 cards of your library. Put all cards of the chosen type into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Sure. Okay. So here's what I think we're going to do for the gods. And stick with me on this one. We already had the Bringer, whose dexterity is equal to its strength. Here's what I think we're going to do to the god. It's going to be a +X, to all. And X is going to equal power or... Well, okay. It's going to equal strength or constitution, whichever is higher. Okay, so let's see what that does for us. That means that this bat up here is going to have 14s across the board because it's the Bat God, and it has a 4 power or 4 strength and 4 power, 4 toughness. Whenever the opponent discards a card, create a 1/1 bat token. Doesn't really affect anything else. When it dies, return it to the battlefield transformed. Doesn't do much for us. For this guy though, this Alrund. So he is a 1/1 god, but as we've already established, that's not entirely accurate. So because he is a 1/1, and because he would get a 1/1 for every card in your hand, actually, since we don't have hands, he would stay a 1/1. Probably not the best choice. But anyway, let's just assume that we're going by the rules that we have and assume that we're holding a hand. Let's say we got 7 cards in our hand. That would make his power and toughness equal to 8. Because he can only have 7 cards. That means that his dexterity, his dexterity, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma would also be 18s across the board. Since his fluctuates a lot, though, it also means that if you every time you raised and lowered his power and toughness, his other stats would fluctuate too, which I think is good, because it just seems appropriate. His stats are all kind of interconnected. It kind of works. And as for the other one, Hakal the Whispering Raven, it's a bird. It says whenever it deals combat damage to a player, return it to its owner's hand, then scry 2. Sure, I guess. What about another one? We'll scroll down a little bit. We'll pick something different. Let's see. Aetherios, the Shroud Veiled. So this is a legendary enchantment creature. It is a god. It is a black and white god. It's a 4/7. So because we stated that whichever is higher, we're going to take the highest one, which is going to be the toughness. So it's got 17 constitution. The strength will stay the same, because it just does. Strength will stay the same, but dexterity, intelligence, wisdom, charisma will all get set to 17 as well. And if anything boosts it, then all of its other stats will go up as well. It'll make them very, very powerful in the right circumstances. However, we also have to keep in mind, though, that, like, if we come back to him, again, as we're playing the game, how are we going to balance this? How do we not have just, like, an army of these guys marching through a village? Well, the answer is simple. This guy is mythic rare, which means you're probably not finding it anyway. You will have access to all commons. And then maybe, in an encounter with another planeswalker, you come across somebody who also uses some others, maybe some uncommons, and you can pick them up from there. Because once you see them, you can summon them. And then, I can reserve things like rares for rewards. But something that's going to be either legendary or mythic is probably just not going to be in the game, which is going to include most of these gods. Very powerful, but maybe not something that you'll ever see. So there we go. We got gods done. And I think that's where we're going to go ahead and we're going to leave things today. So we did a lot. Not as much as I kind of wanted to get through, but there's only so many hours in a day. So we got all of our humanoids done. Everything from the apes to the yetis. We took care of all of the humanoid races without the subtypes, and that one was really easy. All we had to do was just give them a modifier to their intelligence and let the rest of the stat block do the work for us. After that, we got to start on the humanoid races in appearance only. These are the ones that are going to break the rules, and so far they're doing that wonderfully. Angels, Archons, Demigods, Djinns, Ifrits, I think all feel really good. They are just better in general, but not brokenly so. Especially since they don't get a whole lot of abilities that you as a player would. So they might have possibly a higher stat or maybe 2 than you do, but you would still have the edge over them. And then yeah, gods, I think gods are looking good. So, with that being done, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a break here. I'm excited though. I think this came out really well, and I can't wait to get into the rest of these. Except for slivers. I hate slivers. But we're going to have to do them anyway because we can't leave them out just because we don't like them. I did clowns. I could do slivers. But yeah, that'll be for next time. So, if you want to watch me pull my hair out, trying to figure out what the hell we do with a sliver, then subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, that way you get notified every time these videos come out. If you know somebody else who's also into Magic the Gathering or Pathfinder, and they might be interested in playing with us, then share this video with them. But if you, just like me, you like what I do, then go ahead, leave a like on the video, leave a comment down below. Particularly if you want to point something out, add something, subtract something, whatever it is. But if you're going to do that anyway, might I suggest you join the Discord? There's a link down there to a Discord. It's my Discord. It's a great Discord. It's quite frankly the best Discord. Nobody says that, but you know what? I'm going to go with it anyway. But if you want to play with us, you got to be on it. You need to go to the Discord. You need to go to the Behind the Screen channel. And from there, let me know what games do you want to play and what your availability is. And once I have enough people for one game, that game starts. So, if you want to do that, great. I hope to see you there. And otherwise, if I don't see you there, hopefully I'll just see you next week for the stream. So until then, happy Easter. Go enjoy your holiday. And take care.